Welcome back to the Now or Never podcast, where we talk about all things to do with self-improvement, growth, personal development, whatever you want to call it. But if you have not subscribed, please make sure to hit the subscribe button below. It helps us grow this channel more than you'll ever know, and it is absolutely free to do so. First of all, thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed to this. Thank you very much to everybody who's came over from TikTok, who has seen me on TikTok, came over here, subscribed, and are following us on YouTube. I want to try and grow YouTube because this is where we get to come on, we get to talk about things a wee bit more in depth. We get longer form content, not too long. I'm going to try and keep this about 10 minutes. So it's not too long. Surely you can put up with me for 10 minutes. But thank you very much to all you that have came over from TikTok. Over the last 4 weeks in TikTok, we've managed to grow to over 1,000 people following us now. It's amazing. I understand why, because I used to follow people on YouTube talking about the same thing like 6, 7, 8 years ago. And changing my mindset absolutely changed my life. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about today is something that I done from the very, very beginning, because there was no point in me saying to you, go on a self-improvement journey, grow as an individual. But a lot of people want to know, how? How do we do that? I can only talk for me. I can only tell you about my experiences and what changing my mindset and having a more positive outlook on life, not just a positive outlook on life, but getting after it and having these visions that I wanted for myself, and how I managed to change my mindset to really start getting after the things that I always wanted to get after. And now I know that the backbone of that and the backbone of what I've got now, because believe me, nobody knows you like you. Nobody knows you like you. You would have heard, if you follow me on TikTok, talking about stop worrying about the outside noise. And that is definitely something that I'm going to get onto at a later date. Probably with someone else on the podcast. I know I did say to you that I was going to get someone on very shortly. I am going to have that person on very shortly. But he's mad busy, I'm mad busy, and it's just trying to get us both in the one room to do it. But it's definitely going to happen, so don't worry about it. I ain't lying, I will do it. And this is the guy that put me on the right path. But don't get it twisted, right? A lot of this work comes down to you. People can say things. It's like me sitting in front of a camera speaking to you, and I can tell you about the things that I implemented in my life. And by the way, it did change my life. But it doesn't come without hard work. Let's just get that right, because when you're sitting there and you're watching people like me on YouTube, or you're watching people on TikTok or Facebook, or maybe you're going to events with Tony Robbins and you're sitting there and you're listening to him. So many of us can listen and listen and listen and take it in and not take action. Now, as I said, I'm going to have a guest on here soon who pointed me in the right direction, but ultimately, I had to put in the hard work. You have to put in the hard work. But where do you begin? Where do you start? You probably would have heard me talk about on one of the videos that I've done before, where I kind of gave you a backstory about me. Didn't go into too much great detail, and maybe I will later on, but gave you a rough part of why I decided that I needed to go on a self-improvement journey, why I decided that the life that I was living wasn't the life that I felt like I wanted, and I wanted more out of life. Now, taking them steps isn't easy, and one of the first steps I had to take, and you probably heard me talk about it before, is that I went to see a therapist, and one of the questions was, what is it that you like about yourself? And I found it extremely hard to answer that. And ended up finding myself saying to her, well, maybe it's best if I just tell you the things that I don't like about myself. And ended up going on a big tangent about the things that I didn't like about myself. So we talked about them things, and that was fine. And anyway, went to see the therapist for a good couple of months, and it really, really did help me. It really, really did help me. I didn't think it would help me. I honestly didn't. I walked into the very first meeting that we had, and I'd said to myself all the way there, I don't understand why I'm going here. I honestly couldn't figure out why my legs were still walking and why I was still heading in that direction, because I put myself off it so many times. But I am so happy that I actually did make the journey and I did go and have that first meeting, because I got out a lot of things that I didn't even know was inside. Great therapist, because I kept on saying to myself, I ain't going to tell her nothing. And she got it out of me. And she didn't even have to say too much. But one of those things was, I said to her, maybe I could tell you the things that I don't like about myself. Anyway, we elaborated on that a wee bit. Seen her for a good few sessions, was absolutely brilliant. And then I was on my own. Kind of resorted back, not to my old ways, but just talking about it and not taking action, until one day I decided, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down everything that I pretty much said in that first meeting. I'm going to write it all down, and I'm going to leave a space underneath it, and I'm going to write under it like a description of how I wanted to change it, or what I was going to do, the steps that I was going to take to change it. This is a hard part. This is a very difficult part, especially if you're being honest with yourself. If you're being honest and you're being open, this is a very, very hard part. Figuring out or being truthful with yourself on the things that you do not like about yourself. Things that people may be seeing you and just don't want to say it to you, because you know they see it, because you also see it. And for me, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. I knew that some of the things that I was writing down, I knew that some people thought that about me as well, because I thought it. And it's hard. It's really hard. There's things in there that I knew were true, but I didn't want to admit that they were true until I had no other option. I had to admit that these were true. So what I will say to you in this video, I want to try and keep it short, is please get a pen, a bit of paper. You have to be honest with yourself. And the thing is, and even you could write down the things that you don't like about yourself, the things that you want to change. And if you have a partner there, or someone you know, or a best friend, maybe read them out to them. Maybe read it out to them people and ask if they agree. And you'll probably find that because you've asked and you want them to be truthful, they will be truthful with you, and they will tell you. And then even hearing them pretty much validate it is not easy. Isn't going to be easy. It's going to be tough. Now, I've still got things on that list about myself, 7, 8 years on, that I have not managed to conquer yet. So I ain't going to sit on here and say to you that I've figured it all out, because I haven't. And as I've said before, I believe that growth, changing your mindset, personal development, and being self-aware is a forever thing. It's a thing that we're always working on. And that's fine, because if you can recognize that, then that's fine. But please, just for this short video, I wanted to come on here and say, this has to be the first. This is basically the foundation. This is where you know where you are. This is where you're being honest with yourself. And these are the things that you have to make a non-negotiable. That you have to fix these things. And as I said, 6, 7 years down the line, you might see that bit of paper or the list that you had has went from that down to that. That's growth. That's growth. Amazing. Because I know that I still have shit I need to figure out about myself and things that I need to change. But I know what I have changed has made me propel onto different things, different better things in life. So for this video, all I want you to do is a little bit of homework. I want you to write down the things you don't like about yourself, be honest with yourself, and figure out, and right underneath it, figure out what you're going to do to change that and the steps that you're going to take, because it is so important that you act on it. Because self-improvement is all about taking action. Be honest, be open. As I said, you can ask a friend, you can ask your husband, you can ask your wife if they agree. Maybe they've got other suggestions. Maybe you should ask, is there anything that you think that I should change in my life? They will probably tell you. And it's not nice to hear, but it needs to happen. It's the only way that you're going to build that first block on top of that foundation for you to move forward and get after the things that you've always wanted to do. Listen, thank you very much for joining me on this short video. I appreciate it. As I said, please hit the subscribe button below. Help me grow this channel. I am trying to get the word out there about Now or Never. I have big plans for this YouTube channel. It isn't always going to be like this. I plan on getting people on. I plan on talking about their experiences. But until I do, I want to try and keep giving wee nuggets of information. And as I said, it's not a blueprint to live your life. I can only tell you the things that I've experienced, because there's no point in me talking about things that I have never experienced, because then it's not authentic, it's not real, and it's just about me trying to get views on here. And that's what it comes down to. Whereas I'm not really that bothered about views in here. I want to build this as a brand because I've got something to say. I'm just an average Joe kind of guy. When you go on YouTube and you look at other podcasts, it's all these people who are massively successful in the things that they're doing. I can resonate with it, or I can get it, but I can't completely resonate with it. I want to be, and I want to grow this brand with other like-minded people like myself, that you can sit there and you can listen to, and you can hopefully resonate with it, and we can start building a better future for yourself, your husband, your wife, your kids, because ultimately you're in charge. And when you start making changes and start building things, and I've seen that with me, that for us to get out of the rut that maybe we're in, or financially not being that great, or whatever it is, I'm the driving force. I have to sort my life, and that will fix everything else. But before I go, I just want to thank you all once again for subscribing. And remember, it's now or never. Take it easy.